services, it's not just about alcohol, marijuana, and prescription drugs is what I usually focus on, but it's also about dreams. And that in middle school, I decided I wanted to be a professional singer. And not every kid decides in middle school that that's what they want to do, or even in high school sometimes, and sometimes they switch in college. But what's important is if they have a dream or goals that they can focus on, that's going to help them overcome any obstacles in their life. So they have something that they can look at and go, this is where I want to go, and this is where I can be.
How do you carry that message to high school or middle school kids and make it resonate with them so it's not just another talking head saying, don't do this?
Right. Well, what's great about my program is the DREAM acronym, which I use to describe how to maintain a healthy lifestyle. DREAM stands for D, determination, R, respect, E, evaluate, A, accountability, and M, motivation. These are actually the exact steps that I followed in middle school to be able to get to be a 24-year-old master's student at Manhattan School of Music and do what I love to do and accomplish my dreams. So I tell them that this is real life. These things can happen with these steps, and I know that they've worked because they worked for me. And I also just find ways to relate to the kids.
Yeah.
I bring 3 boys up or 2, depending on how many are willing to volunteer, and I actually sing opera for them. So it's usually the aria called Quando me vo.
Mm-hmm.
It's from the opera La Bohème by Puccini. And in that aria, I'm trying to make my ex-boyfriend jealous by flirting with all the boys on stage. So I really just break the ice right away. Not only with the crown is very helpful, and kids get excited about that, but they just go, oh, this is fun, we can be goofy. But in all seriousness, it is an important message. And so I bring the fun, but I also bring the message, and I try to drive that education home, to tell them, look, you can have fun and accomplish things in life, but you have to stay away from drugs and alcohol if you want to be successful.
Do you know anybody personally who's been affected by drugs and alcohol?
I do, and again, many classmates in high school. I had one very good friend of mine who was a football player. He wanted to be an NFL football player, and that was his dream. And after one of his games, he went to a party and drank so much that he ended up in a coma for 2 days and almost lost his life to alcohol poisoning. And what's interesting about that story is not only did he lose his life, but for the rest of his high school year, he was not allowed to play sports anymore or play football. And that was his dream. And these are the things in the DREAM acronym, I talk about evaluating your situation. I was a freshman in high school, and I wanted to make new friends, and I was invited to a party. And I went to the party, and I was shocked to see that these kids my peers at that time, were drinking alcohol, smoking pot, and then also passing around a bag of prescription pills. And, to see that and to have to evaluate this situation as a freshman in high school, I know kids go through this all the time. They want to succumb to peer pressure because they think they're going to be cool, but that's not it. So I always tell kids, it's cool if you leave. We're really reaching these kids before alcohol and drugs do. And that's what the Council on Alcoholism and Addictions of Finger Lakes here with Nelson has been able to provide to kids, parents, adults, not only just on the recovering side and treatment, but really on prevention. And that's, I think, where we need to be and where we can change lives.
How did you and Nelson get together? Did he contact you, or are you reaching out to organizations like his as part of your Miss New York duties?
Mm-hmm. He actually contacted me, but we met. So I'm actually the National Youth Spokesperson for the National Council on Alcoholism and Drug Dependence, also known as NCADD. And we all had a huge meeting where all the affiliates with NCADD came in Albany called Canis. Mm-hmm. And we sat down and they gave me the opportunity to talk about what I want to do as Miss New York and how I need their help. And it is so amazing to have people that really care, really reach out to me to bring me on board with them to really help make a difference. And so there's a lot of reasons why kids do drugs and alcohol. Some usually peer pressure, boredom, curiosity, bullying. What I've heard with a lot of kids is that stress, whether it is the bullying or it's the homework or the pressures in life. Nowadays, not every kid has, the classic 1950s home. They have a parent who's working 3 different jobs, or they have Sometimes their parents are incarcerated. Not always it's this extreme, or it could be more extreme, but kids need to have that way to channel themselves and learn how to deal with these pressures. That's not what school teaches all the time, and they don't always understand the role of the counselor. So, my job is, if they talk to me and I say, okay, what are one of the obstacles that could get in the way of our dreams? And they raise their hand, they say bullying, or they say stress. I address that. I think it's so important to address what they're dealing with now. With bullying, it's interesting. I was bullied in high school. I had one girl start picking on me about my hair. I don't know why. Just decided to do that. But the problem was that after several weeks, she got her friends to pick on me. And then the friends that didn't pick on me ignored me. So by the time, after a couple months, I was sitting alone at the lunch table, not really knowing what just happened or why people were starting to ignore me. What I tell kids is that you can't be stressed out about it. You have to take care of it right away. Whether you're dealing with bullying, peer pressure, stress, anything, you're never alone, and that you have to go out and talk to somebody about it. But the problem too, again, with drugs and alcohol, I really don't believe that all these kids have the right and truthful information. Kids are smart. If they get a statistic where they say, if you drink before the age of 15, you're 5 times more likely to develop alcoholism later in life than if you were to wait to the age of 21. I see the wheels turning, and they start to think about it, and they go, well, why would you do it? A girl said that to me yesterday. Well, then why would you drink?
Right.
And I said, that's exactly it. But she didn't know that statistic.
Right.
She didn't know that. And that's okay, but it's not okay. We want to make sure that these kids get this education, so when they're faced with this difficult situation of, here's a pill. Oh, don't worry, it's not going to hurt you. Take it. They say, no. I know it's not safe for me. I have no idea what it is, and it could take my life instantly if I'm not careful.